Good evening. Welcome to fellowship. By way of introduction, my name's Jerry Vogelgesang, and for 4 years, from September of 2003 to March of 2007, I was ADC number 128468. Now, I swore when I got out of prison that I'd never wear a white shirt again. I'd never wear anything white again. Didn't want anything white. Told my ex-wife and daughter, don't buy me anything white. Well, my friend Mr. Chapman, when he decides to get together the clothing attire for tonight, there he is over there smiling and laughing. What did he say? White shirt. Didn't own one. This is a brand new white shirt. My grandfather once told me that life is kind of like the weather outside. You know, sometimes you're going to have the sunny, rich days, and then sometimes the rains are going to come, and then the storms come. And in all our lives, we have storms. Such was the case in September 2003 when I got off that van in Newport. John's right, you know. When they shut that door, party's over. I had been convicted months earlier in a family-related dispute over an inheritance, and I thought my life was over. Honestly thought it was over. That even God had turned His face from me. That I'd sinned so much that even God didn't want to talk to me anymore. Over the next few days in those open bay barracks, I had an opportunity to explain my life and to really examine it closely. And I use the words of the late 16th President of the United States, Abraham Lincoln, in the midst of the Civil War, when he said, I was driven to my knees because I had the distinct impression that I had nowhere else to go. And I was the same way. In the next few days, in those open bay barracks, I suddenly decided that since God apparently wasn't going to let me go, I needed to read His Word. I put in a request. 2 chaplains came to see me. And they're not here tonight, and I wish they were, because I would like to express my gratitude face to face. Chaplains Grimes and Evans at the Grimes unit in Newport. They didn't say anything special to me, folks. All they said was that God never gives up on us, no matter what we do. That God puts us in a place where He wants us to be, and not necessarily where we wanted to be. Or, for that matter, where we want to be at all. They both prayed with me, and the wave of peace that came over me was unparalleled in my life. I felt like God had His hand at that point on my shoulder. My daughter came, and which she's here tonight helping. My daughter came to see me and forgave me. And seeing her face showed me that nothing or any situation is too big for God. Other people from the ADC, and many of y'all know these names, at Grimes, such as Captain Huddleston, Carol Santucci in the school. We mentioned Doc tonight, Paul, a special guy. All of them told me one thing, and one thing that if y'all don't do anything else, I would pray that you would do. Tell these guys that they matter, because they did, and it changed my life. I went up for parole in August of 2005, and I had 128 college hours and had 2 associate degrees, but the parole board decided I needed to go to Votech. And I transferred to Tucker. That night I talked to Chaplain Grimes, and he said, if God really has called you to the ministry, if you truly are wanting to do prison ministry, and if God has called you to that, this ain't no big thing. Go to Tucker, see what he does with you. For the next 2 years, I let God be in control. And in Tucker, I was privileged to teach. I had taught for 2 years in the PALS program at Grimes, and for the next 2 years, I was privileged to teach in the pre-release program at Tucker, under the tutelage of a lady by the name of Beulah Hampton. Warden Evans over there knows her very well. And Miss Hampton told me this was an older black lady, and I was an older white man. And we at times did not understand each other, ma'am. We did. And she would fire me up sometimes. But you know something? Never did I learn anything more in a situation like that than I did from Beulah Hampton. And by the way, my ex-warden is over there, and I didn't know he was going to be here tonight, but Warden Evans helped me a lot along the way, and I thank God for him. And folks, my buddy over here has kind of held me on time restraints, so my goal tonight is to express my appreciation to each and every one of you. There are some of you that I didn't get to, that I didn't serve with, but let me tell you that God showed me that inside of a prison, there are indeed angels. My gratitude is total. And God wanted one more step out of me. God wants me to go back into the prisons. And I hope to be able to do that within a very short time. Because I've seen the loneliness. I've been on those knees. And you know, there are a lot of guys in there that are hurt. And I want to echo what John said. You can make a lot of difference with these guys just by telling them that they matter. As I conclude tonight, I'd be kind of amiss, especially with her here, if I didn't express my gratitude to my family. Because that's a lot of what helps a person when he gets out of prison, is the idea to have a family right there beside him. I've been overwhelmed at how God gave me a daughter that is so totally committed to the Lord, and how she and my ex-wife changed not only the way of my life, but the tone of my life. My ex-wife forgave my sins and concentrated on helping me take the long walk back. Tonight, my friends, I do thank you. I've seen the miraculous work that God has done through you guys. And I've seen you help me in the most difficult parts of my life. The 19th and early 20th century poet, essayist, and pastor Frederick Langridge once said, "Two men look out the same bars. One sees the mud, and the other sees the stars." Thank you from the bottom of my heart for letting me see the stars.